was vacated, or will be technically vacated shortly by Jaime Munguia. And Carlos Adames, who is the NABO Super Welterweight title holder, escorted to the ring by his trainer, Robert Garcia, the former IBF Junior Lightweight Champ in 2012, Trainer of the Year. Adames has been waiting for this moment. This was going to be a title eliminator fight, but with Munguia moving up to 160 pounds, Adames and Teixeira now fighting for the interim belt, which should be elevated to the regular belt when Munguia moves up officially next month. Lupe Contreras with the introductions.
We continue with the action here at the Chelsea at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. Again, presented to you by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, and being sponsored by Geico. This next bout, set for a distance of 12 rounds or less, at stake the vacant interim WBO Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Supervisor Enrique Mendoza. Our judges are Tim Cheatham, Glenn Trowbridge, and Julie Letterman. At the sound of the bell, the man in charge of the ring, Hall of Fame ref Robert Byrd. Presenting first, the fighter standing in the blue corner, presented in association with Golden Boy Promotions and wearing red with gold trim. When he stepped on the scale, he weighed in at an official 153 1/4 pounds. And as a pro, he maintains an outstanding record of 30 victories against 1 lone defeat, 22 of those victories coming by way of knockout. The #2 ranked contender in the world, from Sombrio, Santa Catarina, Brazil, Patrick Teixeira. Across the ring in the red corner, wearing black with multicolored trim, he weighed in at an official 153 1/2 pounds. And he enters the ring an undefeated professional with 18 victories, 14 of those victories coming by way of KO. The #1 ranked contender in the world, representing the DR, Elias Piña, República Dominicana, Carlos El Caballo Bronco Adames.
Okay. Caballeros, reciban instrucciones en el vestidor. Recuérdate. Obedezcan lo que digo, protéjanse en todo tiempo. From here is good. Here is good. Anything here is low. Okay? Gentlemen, let's do this.
Teixeira from Brazil, Adames from the Dominican Republic. Adames 18-0 with 14 knockouts, coming off a win in June to the late Patrick Day in a 10-round unanimous decision. Teixeira coming off a win in April against Mario Lozano, a Mexican fighter. That fight took place in Mexico, where Teixeira was able to win a majority decision. Now both fighting for the WBO interim title at 154 pounds. What have you seen, Chris, from Adames in his career?
Adames is a massive talent. You know, he's got great skills. He's big for the weight class. He's got great power. He brings a lot of pressure. He walks his man down. He likes to do damage. Likes to break his man down over rounds. But also doesn't take a lot of punches. You know, he's got great defense. He's got good skills. I'm very high on Carlos Adames. I think he's a very, very talented young fighter.
Adames likes to work the body too. Nearly 40% of his landed shots are to the body. That's 10% over the division average. Good left hook comes across from Teixeira. Teixeira in his fight with Lozano in his last fight, the majority decision win, started out really hot, the 10-round fight, and then started to tire out late. Lozano was able to close the gap over the last couple of rounds, won on all 3 scorecards the last 2 rounds of that fight, but it was a little too late for Lozano, who just couldn't outpoint Teixeira. So if Adames is able to wear down Teixeira as this fight goes on, maybe something to keep an eye on is the conditioning of Teixeira.
Yeah, that's one thing I've seen Carlos Adames in the past. You know, he tends to build round after round and likes to add up the damage on his opponent. So that's not a great sign for Teixeira if he was running out of steam in his last fight.
And he can brawl too, Adames, if he needs to. Big body, 5'11". NABF and NABO super welterweight title holder.
Adames is just such a powerfully built guy for this weight class. You know, strong from head to toe.
This is a 3-year pro, Adames. A guy who has impressed early on in his career. Good exchange there in the center of the ring.
Teixeira's finding a home for that left hand. He's staying calm, using his jab, and whenever he gets the opportunity, he unfurls a kind of a long, loopy left hook. Has landed twice already.
2 punches land the combination for Adames. Brings a smile to the face of Teixeira. Won't be smiling if he eats more of those punches. Take a look at the corner of Adames. Robert Garcia is his trainer. Adames has fought some pretty tough competition, winning 2016 against Patrick Lopez, a former 2-time Olympian from Venezuela, February 2017. Giancarlos Prado was also an Olympian. And in July of 2017 against Carlos Molina, who was a former IBF junior middleweight champion. So Adames has not shied away from top-tier competition as we take a look at Teixeira's corner. Edson Nascimento, his trainer. Teixeira has won 4 straight fights since his lone loss in 2016.
We're going to see that looping overhand left from Teixeira there. There's another one. That looping long left hook. Teixeira has great reach for the weight class. He's a southpaw, a little bit of an awkward mover, and he's using that quite effectively so far.
Teixeira's lone loss came in May of 2016, a 2nd-round defeat to Curtis Stevens, the vacant WBC Continental Americas title. Teixeira took 14 months off after that fight. Has won 4 straight.
Curtis Stevens is a friend and stablemate of mine, and take nothing away from Teixeira for getting knocked out by Curtis Stevens. That guy hits like a mule kick.
Adames stalking Teixeira, landing some power punches as Teixeira was going away.
Teixeira needs to be careful here. He seems like he's growing in confidence very, very quickly with a very dangerous guy in front of him.
14 knockouts and 18 victories for Adames. He can end a fight quickly.
The southpaw jab is giving Adames trouble. That's one punch that's really tricky to kind of prepare for. You know, southpaw, the jab comes from a different angle than you're used to when you're fighting an orthodox fighter. Sometimes you're kind of blinded by your own guarded left hand, so it can be difficult to find the range on that punch. And that's one thing, if I had a knock on Adames' style, is that he doesn't jab very much. He's leading with the left hook to follow up with the right hand.
Doing a good job on the counter, though, here in the 2nd round.
Yeah, that was a great straight left hand to the straight right hand to the body of Teixeira.
Just look at the 2 different body types of these guys who, have the same height, same reach, but look like they don't belong.
That's why I love boxing.
Room.
That's why I love this sport, because you don't have to be anything. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be strong. You just got to find what works for you.
Adames has talked about he wants to be the face of boxing in the Dominican Republic, wants to bring a championship to the DR. Very prideful fighter. Robert Garcia, his trainer, has been working on his discipline, his listening and adjustments in the ring. And we've seen that improve as he's gotten more experience. And his fight with the late Patrick Day, which I had the pleasure of calling, was my favorite fights that I've ever called. It was a great back and forth battle. Neither fighter giving an inch, although Adames taking control the middle to late rounds of that fight and showing his power.
Yeah, his gas tank in that fight was incredible. Adames was able to really kind of put the pressure on a normally very, very fit fighter in Patrick Day, and was able to, you know, close the show and win those late rounds to win the fight.
Short right hook for Adames lands. 10 seconds to go here in the round.
Teixeira is showing a lot of confidence right now, and it's building round by round.
From what you've seen of Patrick Teixeira, Chris, we've seen a lot of his fight so far heading into the third round is him backing up, throwing as he's moving away. And what can he do to start dictating where this fight is taking place?
I think he needs to do what he did in the first round when we saw him land that left hook, you know, that looping left hook. He kind of positioned Adames where he wanted him to be, and landed a big shot. You know, he's going to have to move around the immovable object, but he can place him and move him where he wants him.
Third round. WBO Interim Super Welterweight Championship. Little head movement to start the round for Teixeira. Gets in a nice left hook. But still, Adames is the one putting on the pressure, coming forward as he lands a straight right hand.
Oftentimes when you see the righty versus the lefty, the lead right hand is your first offensive weapon, because it splits the guard of your southpaw opponent. But Adames is not coming back with the left hook, which should be his cleanup punch after that straight right hand.
Teixeira the southpaw, but Adames is naturally ambidextrous, so he will switch stances throughout the course of a fight. Feels comfortable on both. Working the body.
Beautiful body work there from Adames.
Goes back to it, why not? Scoring punches for Adames, and he catches Teixeira with a looping right hook. Back to the body. All Adames here in the third.
Yeah, I think he found something with those body shots, having an effect on Teixeira.
Is there anything about Teixeira's defensive style that leads to the opening of the body?
Well, he's got such awkward upper body movement, it's kind of hard to find his head. So if the body doesn't move as much as the head, it's a great place to start.
Three-punch combination, backing away from Adames is Teixeira. Winds up that left hand. Oh, he better be careful. He can't fool around with Adames. Adames, the straight right hand lands.
Adames is putting a lot of pressure on Teixeira right now.
Adames just winding up for these shots. One minute to go here in the third. Scheduled for 12. Teixeira caught on the ropes, shaking his head. Straight right, left hook from Adames. Not much in response from Teixeira.
You know, I like what I see from Teixeira too. You know, there's a lot of pressure coming his way. He got hit with some big shots, but he's still in there, still throwing, still smiling, still, you know, feeling like he's in the fight.
Adames snaps Teixeira's head back twice.
Ooh, he's taking big shots.
3 hooks in a row. A straight right hand. Teixeira in the corner. Adames unloading with 20 seconds to go in the round.
I really think Teixeira's a little too tough for his own good. He's staying in the pocket much more than he needs to, and choosing to do so.
He's eating those shots from Adames.
You can see that the effect of the punches is so different. Carlos Adames being much more powerful. Teixeira landing great shots, but Adames is taking them and coming right back. This round, he found a home with the body shot. Like I said, when you have someone who's moving their head a lot, hit the body first and then work your way up, which Carlos Adames did in that round. Great adjustment. He's actually found a home for those power shots.
And one thing we see consistently from Adames is his ability to go on these 10, 15-second bursts.
Yes.
Where he just unloads on guys, and the amount of power that he can throw in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consecutive punches is very impressive.
You mentioned his body type. Look at him. You know, he's built to be explosive. He's an explosive. He's a very athletic guy. So those bursts make sense.
Robert Garcia talking about throwing and moving. Well, you talked about it, Chris, in that last fight, that maybe Teixeira a little too confident for his own good in terms of standing in front of Adames. He might have to start making adjustments if these Adames power punches continue to rain down on him.
Yeah, I think in the first 2 rounds, it was good that Teixeira was showing him that I'm not worried about those power shots. I'm still in this fight. But in the 3rd round, he just took way too many punches for my liking.
Straight right hand from Adames. You know, despite 22 knockouts and 30 wins for Teixeira, Chris, I haven't seen a ton of power.
He hasn't set down much. You know, he's got a man in front of him who's making the ring very small. So he's been moving a lot, hitting while he's moving. That takes a lot of your power away.
Overhand left scores for Adames.
Teixeira's at his best when he's fighting at long range and dropping power punches on you. That's where I think he's shown power in the past. Not with this kind of moving boxing style.
Right, and Adames, in terms of movement, has forced Teixeira to go backwards, which is even worse for your power.
Yep. I love Adames' eyes. He's got them wide open, looking from a defensive posture, and also looking where his counters and offense can come.
Charging at Teixeira. No, he looks like a bull, Chris. You know, he is deceptively quick on the defensive end, is Adames.
Yes, he is. Like I alluded to at the top of the show, like he's got great defense. He's getting a little hit more than I'm used to him seeing in the past, but he's still a very elusive and explosive guy from a defensive standpoint. I think Adames needs to go back to the body. He found such good place for that, such a good home for that in the 3rd round.
Right.
Got to wait for him a little bit this round.
Teixeira cornered a bit. 3-punch combination, but Adames comes right back. Uppercut, left hook. Teixeira leaning on the ropes. If his goal is to wear Adames out by having him throw a lot of punches, I don't think it's going to work.
I don't think that's a good idea.
A cut underneath the left eye of Teixeira, which is also swollen. Cut was caused by a punch. That is the ruling ringside. This is probably the first body shot we've seen from Adames here in this 4th round. Didn't really commit to it either.
Adames just building the pressure, building the pressure.
That cut has opened up quite a bit, Chris. This is where I always forget to bring my poncho. Dominant performance so far from Carlos Adames.
Yeah, and he's doing it in traditional Carlos Adames style. He's building round by round, adding up the damage to his opponent, getting more in control, putting more pressure. You know, he's basically going from pillar to post at this point. Although Teixeira is landing good shots in between, it seems that Carlos Adames is just walking through them. You hit him with one, he comes back with 15, 16 punches, landing 7 or 8 of them. And all of them are heavy and explosive.
are. See, the trainer's still talking about movement, still talking about that upper body movement, which is what he talked about before the 4th round. Doesn't want Adames to stand still. Get complacent.
Robert Garcia, one of the best and most experienced trainers in the game today. Very high on Carlos Adames. I spoke to him about it at the weigh-in.
A lot of people are pretty high on Carlos Adames.
Me included.
Yes.
I think he's a fantastic fighter, and he's only getting better.
See how that cut underneath the left eye of Teixeira holds up.
Good body work there by Teixeira.
Adames takes it in stride, comes back with a combination of his own.
And as if to say, okay, you hit me to the body, I'm going to hit you to the body now.
Adames has just walked through the biggest punches that Teixeira has thrown.
Yeah. Head, body, nothing really seems to faze him.
Left hand from Adames might have been a little low. Robert Byrd coming over, issuing the warning. Now Adames chasing Teixeira.
Teixeira still being a little bit elusive on the ropes, moving his head just enough to avoid the biggest shots. But you can see he's cut on both eyes now.
Yep.
Cut under the eye of the right eye.
And swelling as well. The left eye, the worst of the two.
At least that one is under the eye. It's not bleeding so much into the eye.
Straight right hand splits the guard of Teixeira.
Ooh, good shots there by Teixeira.
Well, it's just tough to tell what, if any, damage those are doing to Adames. He really stands like a statue. Doesn't really give you any inclination if he's any worse for wear after taking some punches.
Good body shot there by Teixeira too. He's doing good things, but they're few and far between, and in the in-between, he's getting hit with huge shots from Adames.
And he keeps smiling, keeps shaking his head, and Adames continues to pour it on. Under a minute to go here in the 5th.
Teixeira may be taking a beating, but he's not fighting like a beaten man.
No. And compared to the first 3 rounds, he's standing in there and trying to put more power behind his punches, whereas in the first few rounds, he was kind of fading away, running backwards.
Excellent point. He just landed a great right hook on Carlos Adames.
Adames has slowed down a little bit, short right from Adames with Teixeira in the corner. Again, Adames, Chris, what you were talking about, hasn't really gone back to the body since that 3rd round.
Oh, good right hook again.
And Teixeira has found a home. Unanswered combination from Patrick Teixeira.
Well, we said that those punches weren't making effect, but obviously those did.
And Adames gets tagged again. Adames, like he was punched out a little bit there at the end of that round.
His balance did not look great at the end of that round. It seems like he walked back to corner okay, but he wasn't taking those punches like he was earlier. That's something I was going to say. There's only so much you can take. I don't care who it is. If someone can hit you, they can hurt you. You know, both men dishing out punishment on both sides. There's a nice right hook there by Teixeira and just ripping both hands hooks. And now we finally see kind of a chink in the armor of Carlos Adames. Those punches are actually having an effect. Made him a little bit sluggish, moving a little slower. He came back with some punches, Adames, but they didn't have the same power they had earlier. You can see a little bit of the balance off from Adames in that round. As Teixeira finished very strong.
Well, let's see how Adames responds. The first adversity he's had in this fight. Midway point here in the 6th round. Teixeira looking to capitalize. Straight right hand from Adames, lands flush. Adames a little flat-footed here, Chris.
Yeah, he, like I said, he didn't take those punches well at the end of the last round. I'm not sure if he's still feeling that. Or maybe like you alluded to, maybe he punched himself out.
Both fighters trading punches here. Over the top comes Adames, now works the uppercut.
Teixeira, you know, in these last few rounds, he's not moving as much. He's setting down, throwing harder shots. Almost as if he's like, you know what? I can take these punches. Let's see if you can take mine. 3 clean left hooks to the body from Teixeira. Adames goes back up top with back-to-back left hooks. Teixeira must be in phenomenal condition. He's thrown a lot of punches. He's taken a lot of punishment, and he's still in there throwing more punches.
Over the top from Teixeira.
The right hook, man, that's been a great weapon these last couple rounds from Teixeira.
They stand forehead to forehead, toe-to-toe in the center of the ring. The bloodied Teixeira takes a combination and then responds.
Those eyes are looking rough.
Cuts below both eyes from Teixeira. Swollen. Adames, uppercut, left hook, uppercut.
Yeah, I think those are going to get checked out pretty soon.
Yep.
Those eyes are bleeding a lot. The swelling is pretty bad.
Adames on the prowl. His legs back under him. Finding a second win with a minute to go here in the 6th.
Teixeira still fighting well, though. Moving, firing, looking through blood-soaked eyes.
The mobility for Adames is back a little bit.
Yeah, definitely his balance. He's gotten better.
30 seconds to go here in the 6th. Overhand right lands for Adames, pushes Teixeira back. Cuts underneath the eyes of Teixeira. Tears of blood streaming down his face. Right-left combination. Adames has Teixeira on the ropes. Teixeira has been on the retreat for most of this 6th round. Round number 7, Carlos Adames, Patrick Teixeira fighting for the vacant WBO super welterweight title. 154 pounds. Here at the Chelsea Theater, Cosmopolitan Hotel, Las Vegas. Eric Rothman, former world champ Chris Algieri here ringside. Action-packed bout sheet. 4 knockouts in our undercards, as well as a great battle between Brian Mendoza and Larry Gomez that went the distance. We're in the middle rounds here between Adames and Teixeira. As those cuts underneath Teixeira's eyes have been cleaned up at least momentarily, Chris, but I don't know how long they're going to last.
Yeah, they don't look that clean to me from here.
What can Teixeira do that he did well in that 5th round that, at least from my point of view, the only round he clearly won? What can he do to repeat and drive home the point here in the later rounds? You
know, in that round, he stood his ground and he threw with more power and had an effect on Carlos Adames. The problem is that his eyes weren't as bad as they are now.
Yeah.
So staying in the pocket is going to put those eyes at more risk.
And if you're fighting a guy, so if you're Adames, you're fighting a guy who's got cuts around his eyes, what do you do to take advantage?
I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep landing those shots. I think use the body shots to slow him down and then work your way back up like he did earlier in the fight. Whenever he's done that, he's been extremely successful. And really, it's just a matter of time before those cuts.
Big right uppercut landed for Adames, pushed Teixeira into the corner. You talk about Adames going to the body. He really hasn't done that consistently since the 3rd round. But when he did it in the 3rd, he found a ton of success.
Yeah. Whenever he has throughout, at any moment in the fight, where he goes to the body and then works his way up, it really freezes Teixeira, and he gets hit with big shots up top as well.
Huge power punches just continue to land for Adames. Teixeira taking it, landing on the chin. Another uppercut. Teixeira's head flies back. Close quarters. Adames going to work. Left hook. Excuse me, that was a right hook that landed. Back back to the body, over top with the left.
These punches are heavy from Carlos Adames.
Teixeira now heeled over a little bit, leaning on Adames, and Teixeira catches Adames with the right hook.
The right hooks have been landing really well.
And here comes Teixeira.
Oh, man.
Adames going backwards. Adames wobbling.
He is very hurt.
Teixeira out of nowhere.
He cannot defend that right hook.
Adames goes down.
Wow.
What a turn of events.
Adames doesn't know where he is.
Teixeira, the beaten man for most of this fight. Adames, can he continue? Robert Byrd lets him go, and the bell sounds.
Wow.
What a ending to the 7th round.
Wow.
Where did that come from, Chris?
The right hooks. They found the home for Teixeira, and Carlos Adames has no defense for them. Like you said, what can he do here? He can stand his ground, throw heavy shots, but it puts his eyes at risk. But that was a risk that was worth taking. Landing these right hooks, and like I said, Carlos Adames didn't have a defense for the right hand that keeps landing. A lot of the lefts were missing, but it was the right hook behind the ear, just like that. Ooh, and then a left hook on the chin, and down goes Adames.
Adames had never been knocked down in his career. How will he respond?
He did not look like he was in a good place while taking that 8 count.
No, and frankly, Robert Byrd, if he would have stopped the fight, I don't think people could have argued with him.
No, he didn't look like he wanted to fight. Let's see how he responds.
Let Adames go. Teixeira, the bloodied man for most of this fight, now on the attack, the aggressor to start the 8th. Uppercuts after uppercuts. Adames standing still. Adames doesn't have his legs under him.
No, he's not responding well at all.
No, he's not.
What a come from behind.
Can Teixeira finish him off? Or will Adames find a second wind, second life? The title is on the line.
Teixeira trying to go to the body now. Smart move. He's got
straight back-to-back right hands from Adames. A little life from the undefeated Dominican fighter.
Teixeira's in amazing shape to throw as many punches as he's thrown, taking the damage he's taken.
Adames has found his legs a little bit, finding some power. Teixeira not making him work a ton here to start the 8th. Adames just squared up to Teixeira. Big target.
He's moving his head a little more now, going to the body, which is smart.
Still the cuts an issue for Teixeira.
You see him open, like trying to open his eyes, looking up through his eyes so the blood is not in them. And you can look over the swelling. Oh,
good exchange.
Right hooks.
They both land rights. Adames got the better of him. Teixeira struggling to see, especially out of that left eye.
His face is a bloody mess. Oh, nice.
Adames flat-footed.
Adames looks better though than he did in the last round, and that face is looking horrid.
Look at those cuts. Adames says, "Come on, let's go. I'm ready again." Haymaker from Teixeira misses. Adames tries to turn him with 38 seconds to go here in the 8th round.
Seems like Adames has thrown out that method of just taking punches and wading through them. He's actually using defense now.
Suffering the first knockdown of his career.
Adames looking better, more aware, eyes are open again, using his defense.
Big right hand comes through for Adames, but now Adames is sitting on the ropes. What can Teixeira do? Adames dancing around. Gotta say, Chris, after that knockdown in the 7th, Teixeira unable to take advantage here in the 8th.
Now, could not get enough done in that round.
Look at the face of Teixeira.
no, para los lados, no para abajo, a los lados. Isso, respira. Respira, tranquilo. Tranquilo, tá dominando a luta. Continua assim, Patricão. Continua assim.
I'm having fun. Are you, Chris?
I'm having a great night. We've had so many great fights tonight. See here the trading of the right hooks. And as you said, Carlos Adames got the better of that, was able to actually double it up, land another right hand after the fact.
And you really saw, I mean, came around 45 seconds left to go in the round. Adames came to a little bit.
Came back to life. It seemed like his legs were under him, his eyes were in the right place, his defense's rhythm, everything was back. He needed that after the end of the 6th round.
WBO interim title on the line, the 154-pound weight division. Who will leave here with the junior middleweight strap? Round number 9. Straight ahead comes Adames, and this was that stalking mentality he had in those early rounds. Teixeira was forced to fight on his heels.
Right. That's when he was least effective.
Yes.
Because the punches were just not having the same effect.
Adames got away from it in the middle rounds, standing still, standing flat-footed, squaring up to Teixeira. Good overhand left going back from Teixeira. But again, it was the issue that you had with Teixeira in the early rounds was the one-and-done punching, which seems like he's gotten back to that now.
Yeah, when he's moving, he really can't get combinations off. His eyes actually look better this round.
See how long that lasts. Left eye is definitely the worst of the two for Teixeira, and has been since the early rounds. Despite Teixeira having the knockdown in the 7th, Chris, I still think, at least from how the discussion has been with you, I would assume you have Adames still ahead on the
You'll have him way up, yeah.
I think the 5th and the 7th were rounds for Teixeira. Other than that,
it's been a pretty dominant performance from Carlos Adames.
Teixeira unloads the left. Adames unfazed in that crouching position. Goes straight ahead, whiffing on the left hook. Just to regroup. But Teixeira caught him when he was frustrated with himself, banging his gloves together, and Adames got popped.
I like that double right hand from Adames. It's a great move against the southpaw.
Teixeira working the jab under a minute to go here in the 9th.
Teixeira he has tricky punches. He makes little moves like that and throws the shot you don't expect. Being a southpaw, being long, definitely he's no easy out. Fighting a brilliant fight so far.
Credit to Teixeira, still showing his personality, still bouncing around, smiling, shaking his head, dancing, lands with a straight right hand, just flicking it out there right on the forehead of Adames. This could be one of those in-betweener rounds, Chris, that goes either way.
Yeah, this is a tough round to score. I think that Teixeira's probably doing more. Controlling more of the time, more of the space.
So
that round.
You know, the question is, you say you have Adames ahead pretty significantly. Well, so Teixeira gets the knockdown in the 7th, so that's a 10-8 round. We both thought he won the 5th. And I think there's probably 2 rounds, that most recent round, the 9th round, and then I believe it was the 4th round that were toss-up rounds. So
yeah, there's an argument.
Possibility.
Yeah, there's
a roadmap for
fight.
Teixeira winning this on the cards.
Absolutely, yeah. No, there's an argument that this fight is close, and depending on the judging, it could be quite close.
Again, Teixeira, we talked about his last fight. It was in April. It was a majority decision win against Mario Lozano. Journeyman 33-9. Lozano is Mexican. The fight took place in Mexico. Teixeira, in that fight, from all accounts, ringside, really tired late. And with all the 3 cards, Lozano won the last 2 rounds. It was just a little too late for Lozano to make a run. So the question is, are we looking at the same situation here? Teixeira's legs have looked really good.
His conditioning is phenomenal.
Yeah, so it hasn't led you to believe that he's going to fade over these championship rounds, but who knows?
You never know. This
Something to watch out for.
This is what makes boxing, what I believe, the hardest sport in the world. A 12-round championship boxing match is one of the most difficult, metabolically demanding sports in the world.
What does your body start to feel when you go through 10 rounds, 11 rounds of war like this?
It's the opposite of feeling. Your body doesn't feel anything.
Just an autopilot, huh?
Exactly. You go into nature versus survival.
Good job by the corner.
Big right hand.
Teixeira to keep those cuts clean. Adames lands the big right hand that Chris alluded to. Teixeira takes it well. Combination to the body from Teixeira. Again, Adames had a really good round in the third, working the body consistently. He just hasn't done it since then.
What I love about Teixeira, he just knows what works for him. You know, he throws these awkward punches from weird angles and strange movement, but they land well, they land hard. He just makes his awkward style work.
Back-to-back right hands, now a third from Adames. Got inside on the first one and threw Teixeira's head back. Uppercut with the left hand from Teixeira, but then he backs away.
Very impressed with the chin and body of Teixeira to take all these punches, all these rounds.
Oh, big right hand from Teixeira comes underneath and splits the guard of Adames.
Another one of those shots that I was talking about.
Now the elusiveness of Teixeira. Adames expending a lot of energy with swings and misses.
I don't know, I believe I see a little frustration and just question in the eyes of Carlos Adames. It looks like he's looking for, like, well, how is this guy still here?
Well, we saw it in the last round. He was in the corner, he swung and missed and kind of banged his gloves together, and Teixeira in that moment landed a punch because Adames wasn't paying attention.
No, the frustration is evident.
Teixeira with the theatrics. Adames comes right back at him. Teixeira low left hand. Again, Chris, another round. Goes either way.
Teixeira is still very, very confident.
And that right hand landed cleanly for Teixeira.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the right hands from Teixeira have more of an effect.
Teixeira trying to taunt Adames. And now Adames says, what do you got? End of 10.
Great fight. Great right hand there by Carlos Adames. That's been something that's a weapon that's been consistent all night long. See him trying to double, triple it up, which is a great move against the southpaw. And there's some of those tricky shots from Teixeira. He dips to his right, comes up with his right uppercut. Him being a southpaw makes it a difficult punch to see. Carlos Adames dips into it, gets cracked with a hard right uppercut. Here we see a little posturing between the two of them. Both men going pretty much tick for tack at this point.
Championship rounds. No matter what happens, it's going to be really interesting to see what these judges have seen ringside, whether it gets to the cards or not. We'd love to see what their round-by-round accounts of this fight are. Straight right hand for Adames to start round number 11 for the Interim WBO Junior and Middleweight title. Adames 18-0, 14 knockouts. Teixeira putting Adames on his back in the 7th. The first time Adames had been knocked down in his career. Took him about a round to recover. He has recovered nicely. Has been the aggressor over the past 2.5 rounds.
don't see Teixeira energy levels going down. I think his conditioning is holding up well.
Straight right from the charging Adames. A combination from Teixeira, so poking with that jab. Adames swinging wildly. Teixeira talking trash. Says, come on, let's go.
Letting his hands go, landing combinations.
The heart from both of these fighters. One recovering from a knockdown, the other who has been bloody to a pulp since the early rounds. Adames stumbles a little bit.
Yeah, that left uppercut had an effect. Teixeira is beating the fight out.
Adames is trying to get extra seconds in the tie-up, too. He's not right.
Looking great, yeah. Ooh, that right hook, too.
We'll see if Teixeira can take advantage.
I think if Teixeira steps on the gas pedal, he can end this fight.
Yeah, Adames trying to catch his legs again.
I am not liking what I'm seeing from Adames right now.
Teixeira's corner urging him on, but he hasn't thrown.
I don't know if Teixeira sees it.
Allowing Adames to recover.
Good body shot there by Teixeira.
There's 30 seconds to go here in round 11. Adames has not done much in this round.
The swings in this fight have been amazing.
Yeah.
Who would have thought you'd see Carlos Adames against the ropes, but Teixeira standing in front of him, throwing combinations and making him miss.
Teixeira has looked better in the later rounds. The conditioning was the question coming in, and it has been answered emphatically.
Yeah, we can put that to rest.
Well, Chris, I don't know where we stand at this point.
I mean, the scorecards have either tightened up or changed hands at this point.
Yeah, it's true.
Because Teixeira has, with these late charges, if you give him a few of those earlier rounds that were close, and now he's being dominant in these later rounds, he's doing the damage. He's having the effect on Carlos Adames. He's the guy causing more damage. This is going to be a very interesting scorecard if we see one.
Right. Well, I think we both felt through the first 6 rounds, probably 5-1 Adames. You maybe could have even argued 6-0 Adames.
Yep.
And then the knockdown in the 7th from Teixeira. And in the 5-round sits, you could possibly give all 5 to Teixeira.
Yeah, it's that kind of fight.
Plus the knockdown against the extra point.
We very much could be looking at whoever wins this round can win the fight.
Yep. We'll see if Adames can rise to the occasion. Teixeira has the legs to continue.
The balance of
yeah, it's not right.
No.
And every time they clinch, he's looking for extra seconds.
No,
he's slipping. They trade in the center of the ring. 12th and final round here in Las Vegas. What a beauty here on ESPN+.
I don't like to see lasting effects of punches like that where a fighter's not regaining his balance.
That's a good point.
I really think if Teixeira puts his gas pedal, steps to the gas pedal, he can end this fight.
Had the opportunity at the end of the 7th, and in the 8th he kind of slowed down. And now Adames responds, but then Teixeira pops him with a quick jab.
Oh, man.
Unanswered punches from Teixeira. What does Adames have left? Under 2 minutes to go. Teixeira pumping himself up. 4 punches in a row from Teixeira, banging at his chest.
What a performance from both men. These guys are they are hard and tough, supremely conditioned.
Adames has not done much here in this round, Chris. Didn't do a whole heck of a lot in the 11th either.
Yeah, his legs aren't looking great either.
Adames looks like he's trying to hold on the scorecards. He's just trying to get through the final 110. Will it come down
Teixeira
to who wins this round?
Yeah, Teixeira still looks hungry, still looks like his conditioning is there.
Straight
Still
right
wants to
hand
throw
from
combinations.
Teixeira. Under a minute to go.
Amazing job by the corner of Teixeira to keep him in this fight so we can see this 12th round.
Adames unloads to the body. Can he have one more flurry to end this fight? The blood pouring again, this time from the right eye, which looks the worse for wear for Teixeira.
Oh, good body shot there from Adames. Right up the middle.
Under 30 seconds.
Adames is still throwing hard shots, though.
He is.
Any chance he can, he's ripping left hooks and right hands. Ooh, good left.
Left, right from Teixeira. Adames shakes his head. Final 10 seconds to go. Has Adames done enough to earn the victory? Did the bloodied Teixeira win it with the knockdown in the 7th? We will go to the scorecards.
What a fight. Amazing from both men.
What a fight it was between Adames and Teixeira, and we are far from over here in Las Vegas. Still to come on ESPN+, although on a different feed, will be Carl Frampton taking on Tyler McCreary, and then Oscar Valdez Jr. taking on Adam Lopez on ESPN+. As soon as these undercards are concluded. Look back at Adames and Teixeira. The tale of two halves of this fight, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, what if, but even within those two halves, where one guy was more in control, like, they were still great two-way action throughout the entire fight. These two put it all on the line. They were in incredible condition. Unbelievable how many punches they both took.
Adames 18-0. Teixeira 30-1. The number 1 and number 2 ranked fighters at 154 pounds by the WBO, and they showed you why.
Yeah, no, this is world-class stuff, through and through.
And that was the knockdown in the 7th. Teixeira, who looked to be on his last rites. A stunning comeback by him. And he carried that through the remainder of the fight. Yeah,
I know his conditioning was phenomenal. His energy level, his spirit, his will to win, his belief in himself was stellar tonight. And how about the will and skill of Carlos Adames? You know, he went down first time in his career, get up, come back, had some balance issues, and would just recover and come back with hard combinations and shots after that. Amazing fight.
Could go either way. Lupe Contreras has the scorecards.
Ladies and gentlemen, after going all 12 rounds here at the Chelsea of the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecard to determine a winner. Judge Tim Cheatham scores the bout 116-111, and judges Trowbridge and Letterman turn in identical scorecards of 114-113. All to the winner by way of unanimous decision, and now the interim WBO junior middleweight champion of the world. From Brazil, Patrick Teixeira.
Teixeira pulls off the upset. And on 2 of the scorecards,